All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes. Are we ready this morning? Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Emmanuel, joining me on IG Live. I'm also on YouTube and Facebook Live this morning. So appreciate you guys joining me this morning on my birthday. Appreciate that. Thanks for the uh, birthday wishes from all my folks on and family on Facebook Live. Appreciate you showing love. Thank you very much um, for doing that. And although it is my birthday, right? Uh, although it is my birthday, I'm being consistent, making sure that I keep bringing some smoke, right? That I keep bringing some great content on the recruiting world. So I don't want to stop the momentum that I'm gaining and trying to grow my my viral um, presence and talking about high school recruiting and all the things that are changing and evolving with college sports. And like I said, it's for male or female student athletes. It doesn't matter. You know, recruiting is still all the same, right? On how to get exposure to the college coaches to recruit you for your sport, right? And there's a certain way and specific way you should go about that to help you increase your opportunities of getting a scholarship, right? Um, and so we know there's a lot going on, mainly in the football and basketball world of recruiting. But hey, it's affecting all sports. It's going to affect all sports, um, and but just may not be as impactful in some other sports like football and basketball. And the reason why that is, of course, we got more scholarships to give out in football and basketball. Um, Baseball fits in there as well, but there are more full scholarship opportunities in football and basketball than it is in other sports. So that's why you hear more talk about um, NIL and transfer portal and recruiting when it comes to football and basketball, um, because there are more scholarship opportunities and with all the things that are happening with the transfer portal, as we see all the news with I spoke on Wednesday night about Coach DeBoer, the UW coach, leaving and getting a job at Alabama, and there is a huge exodus of Alabama student athletes, football players that have jumped into the transfer portal, um, and so the Coach DeBoer job is going to be cut out for him to maintain that history of Alabama football. Hey guys, it is what it is. These things are evening or leveling the playing field. I don't think there's going to be your normal powerhouse football programs like it has been in the past, which I like. I like the fact, hey, let's spread some of this talent out and let's see who can play ball, right? Let's even out this talent and see who can really coach. See, that's what I'm not saying Nick Saban and some of these other coaches, weren't great coaches, but when you had access to dollars, um, when we didn't have the official NIL stuff going on, there was stuff under the table, and of course, Alabama is a school like Georgia, like many schools like Florida and Nebraska back in the day, Oklahoma. They put, you go to certain schools, you're going to have a definitely a good opportunity to go to the NFL, and it's not like that as much anymore, like during my time, Um, and of course, there was other schools that you could attend and get yourself an opportunity if you were good enough. Um, the NFL is going to find you. The NBA is going to find you. Uh, MLB is going to find you. NHL is going to find you. All these. There's certain schools that just, they rule hockey, right? Or they rule lacrosse. right? There's certain schools you knew were powerhouse in various sports, and you knew if you excelled and got an opportunity to go to those types of programs, more than likely you're going to get a shot to go to the next level if you were that kind of athlete. Um, Not so much like when it comes to track and field. Track and field is based off time, and it's more of a, not that it's not a team sport. It is definitely a team sport, um, but it's a little more based on individual accomplishment and times when it comes to track and field. On you going to the Olympics, and that's just a whole different um, aspect of making a living as a um, pro athlete when it comes to track and field compared to some other sports, right? Um, and so, but like I said, some of these coaches are going to have their work cut out for them. Coach DeBoer is going to have his work cut out for him. Who can you convince now to come to University of Alabama, right? Now that Nick Saban is gone, but as I was going to say, when you're like a Nick Saban and you can woo some of the best talent, not saying you can't still need to be a good coach, but when you have talent at the level that they've had it at in Georgia, some of these other schools, even Michigan, you have some of the best talent and you're always like number one and number two in recruiting because you're getting most of the 4 and 5 star kids. It ain't hard to coach to me. You know, um, you're more or less trying to coach kids and keep them humble and monitor those types of things. But when you got like the best of the best around the nation coming to a few colleges, it don't make coaching real hard, right? At least I don't think it does. Or maybe it causes you to coach harder in some other ways or some other aspects of coaching. Same when it comes to basketball, things like that. Um, I think basketball has uh, more of an even playing field than when it comes to football talent. Um, you depend on more guys to do their job on a football field than you are a basketball court. Um, and and really all you need is, I think sometimes in basketball, is one or two guys, and if the other guys are gelling and know their role and play their role well, you can be, I think, successful in basketball and do some things with one or two guys that are just straight ballers. But now, more so now, even in basketball, though, I think the talent level in all of these sports today with these kids, I think kids are a lot better, much younger and earlier age today than it was, because of, than it was when I grew up, because of all the different camps and things that you have today that we didn't have as much growing up to help us elevate our skill level and knowledge and confidence and competition, right? So today, I just think these kids are much more ahead, um, talent level wise, at a much younger age, and so that's another thing I think that is helping level the playing field. But definitely with um, Nick Saban leaving Alabama, it's going to be very interesting to see what Coach DeBoer can put together. He's taking one of his quarterbacks from University of Washington, one of his redshirt quarterbacks who was like a top kid. I think is like 6'5", 6'6", and he's supposed to be a beast. When he came out of high school, he didn't play much at all at Washington this year with Penix being there, but he, got to watch a very talented quarterback in Penix and learn a lot. So he's transferring to Alabama. So what does that do for Milroe, right? Being there, it's going to be interesting to see if Milroe, he has still 2 years remaining. Does he plan on staying at Alabama, you know, or does Coach DeBoer just plan on putting his guy that's coming from Washington? And you got to be careful with that as well, because you might have more of an exodus or people not wanting to come there if you're not giving Milroe his opportunity that he deserved when he got that team to the national title, or to the almost to the national title, but in the playoffs. So coaches got to be careful with that. So you student athletes in your sport, you need to be monitoring things like that, especially you football players and basketball players. You need to be keeping your eyes close to the vest, um, on what's happening in college sports, in your sport specific. And so today, just I just wanted to put that out there. But today, really, just want to talk about uh, to you high school students, middle school students, and parents on mainly to the student athlete. Like, what do you want to get out of your sport? What is it that you desire to get out of your sport? Right? That's a big question, right? What do you desire, student athlete? Um, is it a scholarship that you desire to get? Because you just have that goal of wanting to achieve something personally as a student athlete, to earn some sort of scholarship money, whether it be a full scholarship or some scholarship money in your sport to help supplement your education. Do you want to be known? Is that something you want to get out of your sport? Because you want to be known for being really good, um, or what is it? You have to decide what it is that you want to get out of your sport, right? You really need to sit down, think about it. It needs to be something you personally, student athlete, need to decide and determine, and sit down with your coach, right? You got to, if you have a coach, you need to sit down and talk with your coach, definitely talk with your parents or parent or whoever it is that um, is raising you, guardian. Sit down and share what it is that you want to get out and what you want to accomplish in your sport. And so it's something you can see every day, right? So something you can set your mind on, right, and focus on. So, and you always want to have it in your mind and have it in your heart and stay focused on pursuing that and accomplishing that and putting forth, the effort and the focus to help you get out of what you desire in your sport and what you want to accomplish. So that's huge, right? That's the start to um, help you get out of what you want to get out of your sport, and um, help you stay focused and connected, right? So that's one of the things I want to talk to you about is do your best in whatever it is that you're pursuing in your sport. Make sure you give it your best every time. Give it your best every time, no matter what you're going through or dealing with. You know, make sure you communicate, talk to people, keep your mental strong and focused, healthy. Um, but give it your best every time. Learn how to sometimes take a break when you know you need to take a break. Don't explode your brain overthinking things. That's why I say write some things down, have people you trust that you can talk to. You know, you don't want to put some undue stress or pressure on yourself. That's not what it should be, because you should love the game 24/7, but also put it in its place. Okay. Um, and then once you decide what you desire to get out of your sport, the next thing is, what are you willing to do to get it? Right? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to sacrifice? Okay. So you got to decide, you know, hey, there's some things that, I need to do when it comes to my training, when it comes to my working out, when it comes to how I practice, when it comes to how, I perform, what am I willing to do? Sometimes you may not be able to go to that party, right? Sometimes you may not be able to do certain things. And then there's times that you need to do some of those things because of keeping your mental health, self healthy, right? But there's some things that you got to be willing to sacrifice to get out of what you desire, especially when it comes to um, trying to get scholarships and different things of that nature. Learning about how to get myself some exposure, um, and getting what I desire. So I got to be willing to give up some things I got to be willing to do some things, right, to replace something that I'm giving up that I may, you know, used to do, where I'm hanging out, or maybe I haven't been committed to studying and getting my academics as well as I know I can or could. So I need to make sure um, I'm willing to put time in to make sure I have my grades right, my test scores, and all those different things. Because those are the first two hurdles, man. When you're disciplined and you can show a recruiter, I already have my GPA and grades and core courses out of the way and my test scores. I'm heading down the right line of that stuff. You know, so are you willing to put that time in that you need to put in to help accomplish that dream or goal that you have? So whatever it is that motivates you to get yourself the opportunity to accomplish your dream or goal of what you desire to get out of your sport, right? So, you gotta, I know something, I was just talking to a buddy of mine who was just here visiting briefly in town, coming through. And we were just talking about our kids, our boys, and now he has some younger kids. One's very good in gymnastics, and the other middle kid is really good in. He did taekwondo and stuff when he was growing up, and now he's doing baseball and really, really good at that. And we were just talking about how our kids, like, do they really love it? Um, do they enjoy it? Are they really focused? And his daughter was here, and she talked about how much she loves gymnastics, and I was like, that's awesome. You know, that's awesome because that's what's more important, that you love it. It's great that mom and dad are excited, but do you love it? And she flat out like, oh, she didn't hesitate to answer. You know, and that's awesome. And you always want to do whatever you can to make sure you keep that love for the game 24/7, right? And stay healthy. Um, you want to definitely, and that's where you parents have to come in at and make sure you keep an eye on your student athlete to be sure that they aren't overdoing some things or overworking. It has to be a balance now. Okay, it has to be a balance on the things that you're willing to do to get it. You know, and we're not talking about cheating. We're talking about doing things the healthy, right way, working out the right way. We're not doing things trying to cut corners, because when you cut corners, you got a price to pay later. We don't cut corners. That's not what it's about. We don't put genuine hard work in to accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish in your sport. Never about cutting corners. Don't ever be someone to do that. But I'm just talking about from the standpoint when you're a young person and you want to hang out with friends and things sometimes, and you need to do that sometimes, but there are times where you're going to miss out on some stuff. But down the road, you're going to realize it was worth it when you accomplish that, what you want to accomplish. Because definitely, trust me, like as I told you guys, I'm a college administrator going on almost 25 years. And college education in America is not cheap. Okay. And, you got to understand that you got to uh, really put forth the effort that you need to put in there, because it's going to pay off for you in the end. I don't care what level of college sports you play and you get a full scholarship, man, that's huge. That's major. That's a huge accomplishment. Okay. And that's going to save mom and dad a lot of money. It's going to save you, student athlete, a lot of money, right? Because of your hard work. That's what you have to look at it as. It's financially, it's going to put you in a good place. It's going to have you start out in a good place. So you have to be willing to give up some things sometimes, to help you accomplish what it is that you desire to get out of your sport, you know. And so, you got to learn how to be great right where you are. Okay. So whatever your sport is, you want to learn to be, as you grow and progress in your sport from middle school up to high school in trying to obtain a college scholarship. You want to be great right where you are. You want to focus on doing things and be great in your city when you're competing. In your sport, you want to be great in your county, in your conference or your division, and you want to be great in the state. So there's a natural progression as you go from, like little league sports, and then, you get into high school, You know, you want to be sure that you're doing what you need to do to help your team. And the only way you're going to be able to help your team is if you focus on making sure you're the best you, right? Staying humble and hungry, but you want to be the best you. So you got to learn how to be great, not just for yourself, but for your teammates, right? Um, but you want to be great, you know, any kind of awards and things like that, you want to be a part of that. You put that hard work and sacrifice in and that focus. Now, sometimes you may not always get what you deserve either. Those things that happen. But as long as you know within yourself, in your community, they know. Um, it's times where I knew I should have gotten, more mention about something that just drove me to just, you know, not necessarily work harder, but just continue to work, continue to put effort because I was already working hard, right? I just want to continue to keep working hard, you know, go back and look at myself and see what I could have done better. It's not that I'm not working hard, I'm working harder, you know, just continue to do that and don't let those things um, affect you in a negative way. Let it affect you in a positive way to push you to keep working hard, to keep that focus. So, hey, you want to try to make sure you accomplish for you, yourself, and your teammates, where you guys are ranked in the city in your sport for your team, as well as your team and individual, um, uh, goals that you may have as well at your position in your sport, in your community, in your area, as well as in your county. There's county, awards and or acknowledgments that you get. You have a conference or a division or region. You want to put yourself in the mention. You know, I may say I always want to keep myself as one of the top three or top five in my position and try to help my team be one of the top in the state, be one of the top in the county, right? Because that's going to help put a focus on you and your teammates, right? Your area. And that's going to bring and drive, college recruiters to your area because kids are going to school out of your high school or out of your city or out of your county, right? And so that drives those recruiters there. So, be great right where you are. Focus on being great where you are. And then, um, then you'll get the attention and mention that you need. Be sure you're going to camps. Like I've been talking to since I've been doing this, I've been encouraged by a lot of friends and people I know been hitting me up, and somebody has a cousin or a nephew or a brother or a little sister or um, that's playing college sports, and I've gotten hit up by a lot of people asking for my advice, and that's why I'm doing the 10-week digital course because I want to do things. I want to do things right, fully do things right, um, and so I've had a lot of people hit me up saying, man, I got a family member so and so, and they're not getting some of the attention, and when I ask questions and poke and prod, a lot of times, in most cases, I tell you that you know that student athlete that they're asking me about, whether it's a family member or friend, didn't have this information, you know, and didn't get the exposure they probably should have gotten or received because they didn't go to camps, a lot of camps. They may have went to one or something like that, or some of them may not have gone to anything, because they're relying on coaches to do things. And sometimes coaches, for whatever reason, may not always come through for you. For whatever reason, I don't know. It happens. We can't assume that and put it all on coaches all the time to do everything. You have your part to do. So you can't rely on your coaches to do everything. You got to communicate with your coach, and you got to make sure you um, have your parents and stuff involved in communicating because coaches need to know what your plans are and what your desire is to be great, right, in your sport to get you a scholarship because that's what you desire to help pay for your education, you know, and and you got to put your uh, money where your mouth is, right? That's what we used to say coming up, man. Put your money where your mouth is, right? You're gonna say you want to do all this, then show it, and coach is gonna be the same way. Okay, yeah, if you want to play college football, show me that what you're willing to, get to do it. You know, what kind of type of leader you're gonna be, young lady or young man, right? And it's coach's job that they want to know for you kids who desire that, and also for them to be honest with you and tell you, okay, hey, this is where some areas where you need to work, right? There's some areas where you need to get better, you know, and they should be telling, hey, you need to go to some camps so you can get some, get some coaching on what it takes to play at college, right? Some of the best ways to get advice about how you can play college sports is go to the college camps and let the college coaches tell you what they're looking for. That's one of the best um, ways to get informed. Okay, what do I need to do to get a college scholarship? We'll go to the college camps and find out and talk to the people directly. Go to the camp so they can put eyes on you and see you for, a couple of days. You know, I think early on when you have a young student athlete, male or female, in middle school, they need to go to like a 2 or 3 day camp. Right now, as you get older, maybe 1 or 2 days, but it's good for like 2 or 3 days for your younger kids to go to see if they really want to put that work in, if they really love it, right? They really enjoy being around other kids and and seeing the competition where there are some kids that are a little bit bigger than you or maybe a little bit smaller than you, but you see how all these, whether a kid is small but he's a beast, whether he's a big kid and he's not necessarily a beast, or you see a big kid and he is all that, right? Or you see a small kid that needs some work, because you got to understand when they recruit you at a certain position, you got to have measurables, right? You have to have measurables. Okay. I'm a D lineman, me being 5'11", 265 pounds, and my arms aren't as long or whatever, I might need to change positions to be like a linebacker and do work at linebacker because maybe I'm not going to be over 6 feet, well over 6 feet to play D line because you got to understand you got tackles that are 6'4" and up, 6'9", 6'10", and you're 5'11". You're not going to win that battle, being a D lineman, right? So you need to maybe start working at a linebacker position, okay, or play running back or something of that nature. And sometimes high school coaches have to understand it's not always about, well, this is where you better help me at. You help me better on the D line because of your quickness and this and that at the high school level. Coaches also have to understand if you're a kid that's trying to go to college and get a scholarship, that they got to also give you an opportunity to play another position of where you potentially going to play in college, not just because it's helping me at the high school level for us to win a state championship or the playoffs. That's great. But you also got to be willing as a coach to allow that student athlete to play a position that he knows he probably is more suited for in college for his measurables, not just because I want him to play D-line because he's good for us there at D-line. But he's not going to be a D-lineman when he go to college because he's not big enough. He don't have the measurables. So don't coaches, don't be a disservice to your student athletes. Sometimes you may have to sacrifice as a coach having some success that you desire to have because you may have to move a kid at another position. Sometimes college recruiters will come in and tell coaches, hey, coach, can we see this kid at this position? Yeah, we really like him, blah, blah, blah. He's close to having the measurables, but we think, from what these coaches can look and tell, they've been doing this all their lives. They've been doing it just like I have I've been around the sport since I was 7 years old. Okay. And some of these coaches, they know their job. They know their position. And they may tell that coach, hey, we need to see him at inside linebacker. We need to see him at outside linebacker or strong safety. Right. So, so coaches got to also help you be great where you're at, and that's where parents have to maybe step in at and ask a coach, say, hey, coach, yeah, I know you need him at D-line and I, and wherever my kid can help you at, or I know you need him at the point guard to handle the ball, but he's a good shooter. But, you might need him at the 2, hey, can he play some 2 or 3, or hey, can he play some forward, blah, blah, or depending upon, in baseball, hey, he might want to play catcher, but his measurables are, hey, no, he's a shortstop, or he's an outfielder. Those types of things you have to look at. Like, what are your measurables for your sport and your position? And as a coach, I want to help my student athlete. I may say, yeah, hey, I needed you to play here, this one position over here sometimes to help us out, but I know for college you're probably going to play this position, so I need to give you some film, at that position. So so coaches have to help you be great where you are. Parents have to help you be great where you are. You have to help yourself be great where you are. And then you also have to remember everybody's not going to receive NIL opportunities right away, um, in high school or if at all, right? I mean, you may have more opportunity of that when you go off to uh, college, and get yourself a scholarship. But don't be all caught up in NIL, right? Because see, when you get caught up in NIL stuff, you start wanting to do all this virtual stuff, and you get caught up in self promotion stuff, and you got to be careful not to get too caught up in all that self promotion stuff, showing you just great. You may show a video of the kind of work you've been putting in, right, in the gym or whatever you're doing, like weightlifting and drills. You know, you may be going out on the soccer field showing what kind of drills you do, cone drills you do, different things of that nature, and you may build up to show how doing those things have helped you, you know, be well in your sport, as opposed to where you're just always like self-promoting, like, I'm all that. Be careful with that stuff. I don't know if you guys remember the quarterback at Tennessee Titans right now, the rookie that got to play. He came out, I think, out of University of Kentucky. You know, um, a lot of people thought he was going to go first round because of his pro day. And then I think it was sometime either before or after his pro day, he posted something kind of like self-promoting himself. And a lot of people were kind of like, they kind of, it was big news because he was a big time quarterback coming out. And I think he showed it this year when he got his opportunity with the Titans. When he got in and got to play this year, he showed some promise. But he hurt his draft potential dropped because the NFL don't want you getting caught up in self promotion. So when they see certain things like that, they start thinking, we're giving you millions of dollars and you're still young, right? And remember I said on one of my videos, my wife's a nurse. She talks about it all the time, especially when it comes to boys. That front part of our brain as males, when we're young, we don't always think logically. And we know when we see some of these things on Instagram and people doing crazy stuff, most times it's a guy, young kid, young guys doing jumping off things or whatever crazy stunts, right? That's because we think, when we were that age, we were invincible, right? And it comes the same thing when it comes to um, guys going into pro sports and you're young. It's not that you're a bad person. That's not what they're looking at. They're looking at, okay, how well does this kid reason? Because they know they have the same information like my wife does. They know they've been doing this for years, right? They have it down to a science, right? When they see certain kids and how you carry yourself, what people, they go back to your high school, some may go back to your middle school, and they ask people, how was this young man? How was this young lady? You know, did they get in a lot of trouble? Or did they do a lot of crazy stuff? You know, or did they seem like they were a responsible young woman or a responsible young man? They do a deep dive because you're like a big time executive when they're paying you seven figures, 6, 7 figure salary to play this sport that you're playing, especially when it comes to drafting you for, hockey and basketball, NBA, NHL, right? And NFL, MLB. You're young and you're about to get a lot of money. And they also look at, hey, what kind of family members are they coming from? Do they have some reasonable thinking people around them? Sometimes some athletes they feel are just so good they're willing to take the risk because they feel like a athlete is just that good and we don't want to miss, right? But for some of the ones that don't think that hey, you're not necessarily hit or miss, but we really like you, you're going to drop. That kid from Kentucky at quarterback, he dropped in the draft round because he posted a self promoting type um, thing on his social media and it hurt him, you know. Um, and I remember there's a lot of talk about, a lot of people were talking about it when they saw it. I can't remember necessarily what it was. I just remember listening to the sports talk shows how it rubbed some people the wrong way, and even people said, "Man, it might hurt him in the draft." And sure enough, it did. He dropped from first, second round draft pick, I think, to a third round draft pick. Because now you got to prove yourself. You're not just, hey, it was could have been an innocent thing he was doing, not thinking about it, but yeah, it was a self promoting thing, and they want to be careful that they got someone that, especially when you're playing that quarterback position. Okay, we know the emphasis on the quarterback position. So you got to be sure that you're careful. My son says it all the time. They monitor how much video you're watching when you're in college. Everybody has an iPad, a pad, Apple, whatever it is that they use. So um, you got to be sure that you are responsible, right? Because like I said, they're giving you millions and millions of dollars, and you have to be sure you show yourself worthy, right? That you can handle it, and that you have good people around you. It's important to have good people around you, like-minded people around you, and um, and so just be sure that you're willing to do whatever it is that you need to do to help accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish in your sport, right? You got to be careful who you're listening to, who you're following, who's influencing you, and um, and be sure um, that you're willing to make the sacrifices to get what it is that you want to receive. Because believe you me, my sons, both of them, because they did listen. Hey, they had to learn the hard way with some things. Not too much. For the most part, they did a good job listening. But hey, just like any other kid, you're gonna sometimes not listen, um, and that's all right, as long as you don't make something major um, happen. But my son says it all the time. They're monitoring you guys in college and even in the pros. Now that he's playing pro ball, they monitor. How much you're watching film, how much you're on social media. They grade these guys on their social media. Certain teams may um, do it more than others, but yeah, they are. They are monitoring and making sure because they have a right to, because they're paying you 6, 7 figures, multi-millions of dollars, and so they have every right. And it shouldn't. Because if you've been that type of person all your life and that's how you were raised, it's no big deal, right? But we hear stories all the time. The athletes getting in trouble for speeding, like during the off season. You know, it's always a concern, even with college coaches. That's why in college coaches they like to try to have these guys be able to stay and take classes in the summer and give them like some summer jobs. Some of the athletes will work the football camps, the basketball camps, the baseball camps, or, the softball camps or the volleyball camps. They don't want to be sure that they keep you close, by as possible, as much as possible, to be sure that some of you alleviate from getting yourselves in any kind of trouble. Right? That's what that is. That's a mechanism to try to help you out as a student athlete, not hurt you. It's trying to help you, accomplish. That's why they have some of these things in place. It's not a control thing, but some kids need it. Some kids don't need it so much. They're responsible, you know. But they also want to be sure that you're putting in work during the off season, like you need to for your sport to keep that scholarship, right? So they're monitoring those as much as the NCAA rules would allow them. But when it comes to your pro sport, there's some things you got to check in, you know, um, and so you just got to be careful that you stay humble and hungry, right? And so that's what my discussion was today. Is just you know, um, really just do your best every time, student athlete. Get some good people around you, right? You know, what is it that you desire to get out of your sport? What is it that you want to accomplish, right? You should desire to be great. Don't think there's something wrong with you desiring to be great. Okay. Um, you know, everybody in the world don't need to know who you are, but are you great where you're at? Learn to be just great where you are. There's a time and place for you to be great where more people know about you. There's like some surgeons and different people, doctors or attorneys or whatever, that they're great right where they are, wherever they live, whatever state they're in. They're great. They're great within their community of attorneys for certain things or doctors for a certain type of surgery, right? Everybody in the world may not know who they are, but when you need that surgery for that specific thing, you're going to look up certain people to see are they great where they are, because I want to make sure that I have the right person, right, doing this surgery on me because they are one of the best, right? And so that's what mindset that you want to have, student athlete. Be great where you're at, right where you're at. And as you progress each year in high school, right, you should desire to be greater, right? And not just for yourself, but for those around you as well. And sometimes people need an example, and you might be the example for your friends, for your community on how to be great and be humble and stay hungry. So yes, always desire to be great. Okay. And so that's the discussion for today. I don't want to stay long because it's my birthday. It's my birthday. It's my birthday, and so my wife and I had a good time last night. We went to dinner early birthday dinner last night. I got to go to see the girls basketball game. I'll post some of those later today of at the women's basketball game at UNCW. Got to go see a little bit of that. The men play tonight, but it's sold out. Can't get it. So I know it's going to be crazy there tonight for that game. But I'm excited for the playoffs, right? Today and tomorrow for the games. Um, and so, like all this stuff I share to you guys, I'm trying to, I'm in a new place and trying to be viral with getting out content on what it means to recruit and trying to grow my audience. So please share, like, follow, subscribe, do all those wonderful things. Get the word out to other people. You know, I love. There's a few other brothers like Before You Go Pro and Coach Derek Tatum, brother out of Georgia, does some great camps. I don't have a problem promoting other brothers, other people who are doing great things, right? Because you know, there's like I tell you, there's more ways to do things to get where you want to be. And same here, there's not just me doing some things. There's other people doing things. I think some good people doing some things. But you may enjoy listening to me and following me. And like I said, that's why I'm getting that 10-week course. That's going to be the answer to a lot of these things I just told you. And if you decide you want to partner with Coach Smith and Love the Game 24/7 in GMB Sports Management Group that represents my son in the NFL, this is we're direct partners, and this is our student athlete um, uh, arm or product that we have together to help student athletes be sure that they're successful. And so the 10-week course that I'm putting together, digital course that I'm putting together that I'll be releasing here soon is coming. It's going to be 10 weeks of taking you through um, um, exactly what you need to do to get exposure and get to help you get to where you want to be and to accomplish what you desire to accomplish in your sport. That's what the Love the Game 24/7 digital course is going to be, a 10-week course, and then it'll be a 2-week bonus week of just strictly just Q&A stuff and whatnot. So, and you're also going to when you partner with me, you're also going to get an hour of just an individual Zoom meeting where we can be face to face and talk to each person individually that partners up and does this 10-week program, buys and purchases this 10-week program. You're going to get that because we're going to walk you through, and you're going to have this for life. You're going to have this information for life and be a part of a community that everybody can share information on my Love the Game 24/7 Facebook page um, community to where everybody can share and help each other out. That's what it's all about, helping everybody be successful, holding each other accountable. You need to have some accountability, right, on staying focused and accomplishing what you want to do and encouraging each other. So that's what this 10-week course is going to be able to do to help you in all these three things that we just talked about. What you desire to get out of your sport, what are you willing to do to get it, and be great right where you are. That's what Love the Game 24/7 and Coach Smith. And you need to partner up with Coach Smith because it will help you. It's going to help you be successful. That's what this course is all about. That's why on Wednesday nights at 7:30 Eastern time, I'm on Saturday mornings, just in the world of sports and different things that we're talking about with coaches leaving. There's a lot of movement. Everybody's talking about the transfer portal with kids, man. There's a transfer of college coaches, right? People that I know personally, you know, that was at one place and now they're at another place, right? Or because they're taking their opportunities. And student athletes, you got to take your opportunity, but you also got to be careful. Just a little side note on the transfer portal thing. Um, Even Coach Derek Tatum has been talking about it a lot, and I shared it on some of my stories. That some of your kids in the transfer portal, man, you got to use some common sense. You don't want to lose a scholarship and you're sitting at home, not anywhere. Okay, you can't do that. Get with somebody. If the college coaches aren't helping you, make sure you got somebody to help advise you on this, because a lot of kids are in that portal and get left in the portal and don't get picked up anywhere, and you had a scholarship, right? And he also, Coach Tatum, Derek Tatum, with elite football, talked about how some of these kids may, have apartments and they got leases, and they put themselves in a portal and they're not in school this semester, on scholarship. No, don't give up that scholarship. Don't put yourself in that portal unless you know for certain that this school wants you to transfer. and you've got to accept it. And because they're putting paperwork through for you, they're telling you to fill out certain things so you can, transfer for sure. You can't go off, I think, or hey, we'll get back to you. No, don't you give up that scholarship and put yourself in the portal. Stay right where you are on that scholarship. Okay, do not leave. Because if you got a lease somewhere and your name is still on that lease and you don't have the money to pay for it because you're no longer on scholarship somewhere, getting that money to help you, you can't, you don't. That's not wise, right? And then you might miss a year. You may end up going to play somewhere, but yeah, your credit is getting messed up. Okay, and you don't want to do that. So just be certain, man. You guys get some advisement, and find out, are these guys who ask these teams that you're talking to are really interested in you transferring and they're serious about it. You got some serious opportunities because a lot of the transfer guys in the portal are usually kids who may have graduated and are graduate students and still have another year or two. I think the COVID stuff is going away, and you got to be careful about that as well. That COVID rule for NCAA, where you had another year or two extra that you could play due to COVID. I think that's ending this year or has ended. And so a lot of guys are having to graduate, and so you guys that are freshmen and sophomores, let it be a real good reason. That's why some of you high school kids that we're talking about, they're missing opportunities from going Division 1 and you might have to play lower level. That's cool. Go play that year or two and get that experience. And if you get opportunity to transfer up, be sure it's legitimate. Be sure that they're serious. Be sure you have your grades so you can transfer after a year or two. Be sure you have enough credit, but don't put yourself in that portal and saying that you're leaving from where you are and you don't have a for sure type situation. Okay, so use some wisdom. But like I said, that's what Love the Game 24/7 is all about. We want to, and you partner up with us and get our program. It's going to help you succeed. Um, you know, but when you're discussing things with people, give people all the information. And when you're talking to a school, get all the right information. Ask all right questions. The main question is, Coach, do you have a scholarship for me? Because I'm not losing my scholarship over here where I'm at right now, and you're telling me and you're not giving me a for sure. You know, and you might need to have more than one school tell you that. So if that school that you want to go to at the top of your list, you need to have about two or three schools, that say they really want you. Right? That's what I would do. I would have about two or three schools. So if one of them fall through, you know, somebody won't. Right? It may not be the top of my list, but it's still somewhere that I wouldn't mind going and playing in my sport. But you better have you about several choices of some coaches that says, yeah, fill out this paperwork. You got to accept it, blah, blah, blah. Let's move forward. Let's fill out such and such. Or we got a letter of intent that we're mailing to you. And you got them sitting on your desk or in your laptop on your computer saying, yep, these are, and now it's on you. Right? Don't don't get caught up like coach feeling. Them coaches gonna be okay. They have a job. The coaches are fine. You don't have a scholarship. Don't worry about their feelings. Don't worry about that coach feelings because he has a job. Okay, he's coaching. You better take care of your business for you and your family, right? So I don't give a flip about what that coach getting personal. No, no, sir, I'm not having. No, ma'am, I'm not having that. And you're right to tell him in a respectful way, coach. Hey, you have your job. I'm trying to make sure I have a scholarship to take care of my education, so I don't put undue stress, financial stress on my parents or myself. That's what you have to learn how to communicate and not be um, worried about it. No, don't you worry about that. You be straight up and tell them, I need to know. I need a letter of intent in my on my email, and for how much you're giving me a scholarship for, before I pull myself out of a portal and lose my scholarship where I'm at right now. Because maybe where I'm at ain't really all that bad. I just want to play at the next level because I know I can play at the next level. And you've shown that by sending them film and showing them, and they're interested. So you need to have about several letters of intent in your email from several schools before you pull yourself out of that portal. And I say for some of you student athletes who are living off campus, man, no, you better stay on campus. You got to think. If you considering that you want to transfer, I'm not signing a lease, because I'm relying on some money to come in. And then in the second semester, I don't have any money because I put myself in a portal. And I'm no longer on scholarship, getting any kind of funds to come in. They help me pay for rent in case I can't. And then you may have torn down or burnt down bridges at your current school and they don't want you back. And some things you don't need to discuss with your current school until you know some for certain stuff, some for sure information. Now, you're talking kids from University of Alabama, that's a whole different ball game. These are kids who played at University of Alabama. Everybody and their mama is gonna want some of them. You coming from Michigan, that's a whole different ball game. You transferring out of Georgia and you play, but you just, these are a whole different. When you coming from some of the top schools, transferring to another top school, that's a whole different ball game. But when you're coming from a lower level, or lateral movement, you got to make sure you use some wisdom and you get some advice. You get somebody you can trust, and be sure somebody you can trust is telling you, something real. But I'm not taking myself out of the portal unless I got 2 or 3 offers in my email ready for and waiting for me to sign, and it's on me to make a decision by a certain time. And I'll tell the coaches, hey, I'll let you know by this certain time, but you need to let me know something by this time, coach. So I can make a decision and let them know, hey, I got some other options. I got some other schools. You ain't got to tell them what schools, but you got some other options. You need to be honest and tell them, and you just say, hey, how many, you got some other kids I know that's probably interested in transferring that y'all are interested in, but I need something solid for me. So I just thought I'd just throw that extra little information out there with the transfer portal issues with some of you kids that, may not be playing anywhere next year because you're in the portal and you didn't make sure you had a solid opportunity of a scholarship to transfer somewhere else before you put yourself in the portal and lost your current scholarship. Don't do that. Okay. But like I said, this is what Love the Game 24/7 is all about, man. Trying to direct you kids as best as possible to make sure, you're successful. Okay. And that you don't hurt yourself. Right. Because I wish I would have had some of this knowledge when I was growing up, like what we're giving you. And like I said, I want to be great where I'm at and doing what I'm doing right now. I know it's not going to blow up overnight, be great. Hey, that's great if it does, but I got to put time. I got to put work in, right? I got to put work in and giving y'all great content and give you some real, some real talk, real honest talk. So you don't mess yourselves up. Okay. So that's what we're all about here. And that's how we know we can help you. And you need the partner. That's my call to action for you. Call to action for you is, hey, you need to be emailing Coach Smith and Love the Game 24/7 at love the 247game at symbol gmail.com. So that's love the 24/7 love the 24/7 game at symbol gmail.com. All right, I'm gonna say it one more time. Love the 247 game at symbol gmail.com. You need to be emailing me and finding out how you can partner up. Because some people can sign up early and get a discount on this 10-week digital course that I'm putting together. So I need to be hearing from some of you all because I hear it all the time. And I'll hear some more stories later of how some people have messed themselves up or didn't do some of the things that they needed to do because you came in, late with wanting to get information. And you need to get this information now, early, middle school, early high school. Stop putting it off. Stop trusting that a coach is doing something. You got to do your part. You got to spend some money sometimes and invest in making your dream happen, right? But not just in anything or anybody. Do your vetting. Okay? Don't just throw away money and lose it or spend more money than you should be spending on stuff, right? But, you need somebody to walk you through this, like I said, you plug in with Coach Smith, Love the Game 24/7. Hey, we got Before You Go Pro that's out there you can look up. You got Coach Derek Tatum doing great things with his camps and all that down in Georgia. you know. So yeah, this is what's happening, and we got GMBmanagement .com that you can go to and click on our student athlete link to see what we're doing and who I'm partnered up with. So hey, let's go. You know, let's get it going. It's time to pump it up and let's get it going. But I appreciate you guys joining me. Thank you all for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it. That's all I have for you today, right? And I appreciate you joining me. I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday night, 7:30 Eastern Time with Coach Smith. I wanted my son, Jeff Smith II, and Lucas Dennis, my other son. Lucas is with the Atlanta Falcons. My son is with the Arizona Cardinals. I wanted them to get a little break before I schedule a time for them to jump on one of these lives with me. So, they need to get, a little break from being busy with their sport with the NFL. But I will have them on soon to talk about their situation and some other of the other athletes that we represent with GMB Management Group that are in the UFL, Canadian ball, and NFL opportunities coming up with some guys. So I'll be getting some of them on as well. So you can hear some stories directly from some of these guys. All right. But have a great weekend. Be safe and take care of yourself until next time. God bless.